Hello and welcome. My name is Monica Poe, and I'm the marketing manager here at weavix. I'm excited to have you join me for the third episode of The Thread, where we're going over all things weavix. This episode, we're going to cover why weavix built our own device, our Walt Smart Radio. So, for this conversation, I was able to nail down Kevin Turpin, our CEO and founder. But before we go into it, I do want to cover a little bit about Walt so you can kind of see and visualize what Kevin's talking about. So Walt is our Class 1, Div 2 smart radio. His glove-friendly buttons are great out in the field, as well as the rear and front-facing cameras, and the rugged design make it to work in any HasLock environment. So I want to call Kevin to get him on the call. Hey, Kevin, are you ready to come on?
Yep.
There he is. Well, Kevin, you know what? As I talked about Walt, I realized I forgot one of the biggest features. He's also IP68 certified. What does that mean? He can go in water.
Just a minute.
You hear him right there. So, let's get started. But, Kevin, why did we name Walt Walt? You know, a lot of other companies just use a random assortment of acronyms and numbers to classify their devices, and it can get a little bit longer, but why Walt?
Well, you know, whenever we first started to build the device, you know, everybody names their devices like, you know, A-500, or they have a unique number to them, but it's really not unique to the device, right? It is for internally, but not externally. And also, we're different, right? We built a product that is affordable for that frontline worker, and we really want to make sure that it was unique. So we were going through certain stuff, and we're like, heck, why wouldn't you want Walt to be with you every day? And it was really unique, and obviously with weavix, we follow through with the W's, which is fantastic from you and the marketing team, which is just brilliant. And yeah, it's Walt. Walt's going to keep you safe. Walt's going to let you communicate, and it's just a very trendy piece that we were really excited about, given the device a name.
That's great. We love it. We love our W's.
Oh, yes.
But there are a lot of digital tools and devices available on the market. Why did we not just run our weavix software on one of those instead of taking the time and investment to build our own?
You know, that's a great question, Monica. So we tried, right? We went out into the market, and as we've spoke, if you've watched the previous episodes of talking about why weavix and why we did what we're doing, one of the things is basically those devices that are out in the market now are basically a smartphone. If they're not a smartphone, then they are a device that is unique to certain other applications. So when we went out and we tried to find ways to a device was cheap enough, affordable enough that the frontline worker could use and abuse as they are every day because they're in the the environments. And so we said, well, let's go out and try to find this. So we did. We tried to test them and go through us, but it's just, Monica, it's about price. The thing about it is if we have even a $500 device or a $1,000 device or $2,000 device. There's some out there that are that. What happened is it just gets too expensive whenever our goal is to connect every worker and bring them into our environment and into the corporation to be a part of what we do. So we went through and we said, hey, why aren't people building devices that are very powerful in technology, but they can be very built inexpensively? And so we went around and we went to China, and we went to other locations, went to the United States, we went to all Europe, you can name it, and try to find every device and talk to every manufacturer to get online with this. And there was really no alignment. And I really built why we have that full ecosystem from ourselves to say we own the device and we owned the network and we already deployed the network, and we also own the software. So one of the big things is we seen the vision of that to say, we have to get this device affordable. We have to have the control over the device to allow us to do the things that we need to do for the field workers, and not only field workers, but warehouse, construction workers, even hospitality. Right? It doesn't matter where it's at. So it's that frontline worker piece. And so why we built it is to make sure we maintain that cost for our customers and for the people to say, hey, we are going to sustain this. The device is not the issue here, right? And that's one of the big budget items that happened. So we did that. We went out and built Walt, basically from a chip down design, and with our engineers and our teams that we currently have, we achieved our goals, and we now have an affordable device that can be provided to everybody to meet our goals.
That's awesome. So does Walt function like a radio? Does he function like a smartphone? And what kind of difference does that make for those frontline workers, whether they're in the field or at the construction site, in the hotel, in the warehouse, anywhere?
There's some things to go along with that, and I love these questions because they're great. And the thing is there is a need for where a smartphone would be used, and all of us, we use smartphones every day. Those are applications for our personal life, for our families and friends, and everything to collaborate. But in the space of a frontline worker, in our Internet of Worker is why we call it, not things, it's people. There's just certain applications you only really need. We don't probably need to be out there on our personal devices or doing personal things that could distract us, that creates a safety hazard, or really just makes people in doubt, right? So if I'm on something, are you on this application? What are you doing? Are you wasting time, or are you using an application that might not be suitable for what we're doing? So to create consistency with the organization, we really focused on saying the device itself and the software on the device should be really about what you do every day. And so when you ask the question about smartphone, the smartphone is made for aspects of multitude of, from multimedia to things for even Snapchat or any of the functions that everybody does every day. Whenever Walt's really built for, yes, it does have the same functions and features, but we've taken out really all of the cost and extra things that might drain your battery because of other features on the application, or even actually the ruggedness of it, right? And creating that price to be down where it's at, and we're the first to provide that. As you mentioned, Class 1 Div 2, and I see Walt back there still swimming in the water, right? And obviously being where it can be fully submerged and very, very durable. So the point of having a smartphone is just too expensive. It goes through too many channels, too many aspects for us to get a hold of them when we're deploying them, of hundreds of thousands of them. So the concept is it acts just like, or has the same power as a smartphone. Matter of fact, the chip that's in it is very, very, very powerful, and it's very been known around. It's a Qualcomm chip that's in it, and we were very pleased with what we've got on that. But the power of it's amazing. So we can do every aspect that's for the worker when it comes to actually video and push to talk, and then messaging, translation, and all those things, right? So don't let it fool you. He's a powerful little dude, but at the end of the day, it is not a smartphone. It does allow us applications that we can put on the device, meaning that we do have the patented push buttons that some people say there's glove-friendly touch screens, which we know when it's raining out, right? Sometimes that doesn't really make the truth there. So we said, hey, you know what? Let's go to push buttons. We kind of retroed it up a little bit. I'd call it almost like your Palm Pilot a little, it came back in the different day, but it works so great, right? Big buttons, push them, you can feel them with big, heavy leather gloves for all people. And then I know some might not even need gloves or wear gloves that might be watching this, but it is about, what if your hands are muddy, or you're a bakery or wherever it's at and they're dirty, right? Those things still affect the touchscreen. So it's really cool on how that aspects, but you got to keep in mind that those buttons have to interact with the actual software and of everything you're going to involve with that. So we do have APIs and integrations. We work with customers and great partners to allow us to then integrate the product in there. And allow us then to put applications on our product, but obviously they're configured so you can use buttons. So that is the difference between from price to the use to the, just has to work for the frontline worker.
Like that, it has to. I mean,
yes, it does.
They rely on it. So, well, there's a lot more we could go over, Walt. We kind of scratched the surface, but my time's a little short. So, Kevin, can you give us what your personal favorite feature is?
Wow. There's a lot of cool features that I would say I love about Walt. Let's just say I think my favorite feature that when we were envisioning even all of this up is the global directory. Walt as a device is great, and I've mentioned the buttons. Yes, they're a favorite of mine as well because I can do what I need to do, rain or shine, snow, dirty, dirt, food, whatever it is, right, that happens to go along with it. But global directory as of how it works within the navigation of the screen. So global directory is a really unique feature. One of the things back in, whenever all the companies that I've started in the service businesses is never really could get a hold of the right person, especially whenever I'm working more in a big organization. If it's, mine was in the industrial sector, so I'd be in a facility and I wouldn't know where the safety director was, or I wouldn't be able to get a hold of my contact because I wouldn't know if they're in the plant with all the shift work. Or, for ones that I might speak to now of like hotels, or I know I keep saying this, but warehouses and things that are all around the place that happens, or medical, whatever it is, you don't really have those schedules in line when you have a lot of people. So what Global Directory allows you to do is it allows you to, when you enter the geofence, it allows you to see who's on site. So the radio not only itself is this really, really, really good communication tool, but also tells us who's there. So if, let's say, John is or Michelle is not there, it shows me. I can go into crafts, or I can go into companies that are on site. It tells me what people are in them companies within that geofence of the location, and it tells me who's on site. Helps me get really quick, direct communication and allow me to really contact who I need to contact. So I'd have to say right now, the global directory is an awesome experience when you get to see it for everybody that gets to try it. And that would be my feature, that with the push button. So.
Wow, that's great. So I do have to wrap this up. We got a little longer, which is great. There was a lot to cover, just Walt. But as I've said in our previous episodes, be sure to follow weavix on all of our social media channels. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can see when the next episode of The Thread will air. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank
Bye.
you.